So, Dr. Natalie, we were talking about compact vegetables. You brought a nice display of those compact vegetables.
I brought a few samples with us here today. We give a lot of FaceTime for tomatoes and peppers. There are a lot of great options in compact tomatoes and peppers these days. We have the baby snackers. We even have some beautiful striped sweet peppers here. These are called candy cane. Even the leaves actually are variegated. These may be one of my favorite plants in the trial this year. And even compact eggplants. These are called a Hansel. There's also a Gretel.
Oh,
white
okay.
that matches
I
those.
got it.
Patio baby. So we have lots of nice 18 to 24-inch plants that can go in raised beds, containers, very easily.
Okay. Now, can we talk a little bit more about those tomatoes that you grew?
Let's talk about those little tomatoes.
Let's do that. Let's tell the folks.
So we really have some really cool options in the ranges of small-fruited tomatoes. There are very compact 12, 18-inch plants. Right. I think we have a good picture of one that's called Little Bing. It's a determinate tomato that fruits heavily. It can bear really well for a short period of time. We also, if you're looking for a little bit larger fruit and a little bit larger plant, homeslice is also a nice compact plant. And then there are even some dwarf indeterminate tomatoes, right?
Are you getting this, Mr. D?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dwarf
got you.
Indeterminate.
I mean,
How about that?
keeps on growing.
Yeah, and it keeps on.
It's still little,
flower,
but it gets bigger.
Right. So these leaves are just really close together,
Okay.
and so we have some of those. Now these are not going to produce the fruit that you would expect out of a Brandywine or one of our 8-foot tall indeterminates, but they can produce over a longer period of time, produce nice beefsteak-looking fruit, and perform well in a container.
Yeah,
So
that's the big thing. They have to do better in a container than, I'm not having any luck at all trying to grow regular tomatoes in a container, but a small dwarf tomato ought to work better in a container.
Yeah, and so you'll still need a pretty good soil volume to get them to perform well, but you don't have to do near as much work to string them up.
Okay.
What about soil, for growing these tomatoes? Does it matter?
For the most part, my trials are actually in soil, so they can perform well in high-quality garden soil. But most of the time in containers, we'll think of a well-drained organic mix, a pro mix mixed with some compost or a little bit of, pine bark chips and things like that to get a little bit larger particle size.
Sure.
ProMix peat can compact over the course of a season if you have it in a large container.
Oh, good stuff. Now, what about the peppers? Let's talk about the peppers.
Yeah. So the peppers, I already mentioned a little bit about candy cane, variegated fruit and leaves. That'll be available in the market next year. And then we have some of the baby bells. So this is called Eros. And then some of the other cool options that we have on the market are combination plants that are both ornamental and edible. And so these are called pretty and sweet. So you can see, a nice, compact, bright, small pepper, but they're also on a plant that has variegated color fruit, a nice compact plant that could be great in a container. And we also have some hot peppers called Black Hawk, Black Pearl, that produce really small hot fruit with dark leaf. So there are a lot of options, not just for the back porch, for the front porch too.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good. Now you have some eggplant?
Yeah, these are Hansel, and they're paired with Gretel. These are about a 2-foot tall plant that produce these nice small fruit. Patio baby is another example of an eggplant. I think we have a picture of it that has a really small egg-shaped fruit, 2 or 3 inches, and it's ready for harvest. So these are very, productive over the course of a season, but very compact and good for containers.
Wow. So folks are going to really enjoy growing these plants, right?
You can get a pretty good selection for your kitchen right there on the back porch.
Right. Now, when are all these going to be available, though, for folks to actually start planting and growing?
So candy cane is an example of one that'll be on the market in 2018, but Patio Baby actually won the All-American selections in 2015, so it's available on the market now. Pretty and Sweet's a recent All-American selections winner. So most of these, the Little Bing, the Homeslice, most of these are are on the market now.
Okay.
So folks can order the seeds. You may not be able to find them in a garden center.
Okay.
This may be a thing where you'll want to start your own transplants.
Okay. So these have been trialed throughout the state, or I mean, how are you working
Right,
on
yeah.
that?
So for some of our tomato and pepper plants, I do trials in Knoxville, but also
Okay.
we have several of these being trialed in demo gardens,
Okay.
Master Gardener demo
Right,
gardens
good.
across the state. So I grew a lot of transplants and shipped them out to those places so that they can give us feedback on what they like across the state. Just because it does well in Knoxville doesn't mean it'll do well in Memphis.
Exactly
or,
right.
Yeah, Nashville.
Mr. D knows about the different zones that we have here.
That's
Sure.
right.
And another one of the cool things that we're working on we've kind of pilot tested it this year, but we're going a little bit bigger next year, will be a home garden variety trial so that we have the opportunity for people in their own backyards to try combinations of cultivars that we know perform relatively well, but we really want to know what they do across Tennessee. So we'll just send them matched sets of pairs of cultivars of any of the cucumbers, zucchini, a lot of beans that they want to try, and they'll let us know at the end of the season how they do.
Now tell me this, how did you go about choosing these cultivars though?
Well, initially, these selections were made based on disease resistance, visual appeal, right? We can't ignore the fact that,
It's gotta look good.
They look like Christmas ornaments. You can't eat that. That's too pretty, man.
Yeah. So we can't ignore the visual appeal, and how well they fit into spaces. So we're thinking about, do these work for raised beds, or are these better for a gardener that has a larger home garden plot? So those are the kinds of feedback that we're asking from folks. What do they look like? What do they taste like? How early did they fruit? And general aspects on yield. We're not asking everybody to send us back data sheets.
Right. So how has that feedback been though? Have you gotten back some of that feedback already?
We have. We've gotten back some of that feedback, and folks have been excited to give us their opinions. And so by the end of September, we'll be getting a lot of those notes back. And from that, then we'll make the decision over what the cultivars are that we grow next year. So we'll keep some of the same ones, the things that performed well, but if we have some that didn't go over very well across Tennessee, we'll swap them out and grow some things that people are more interested in. So we want this to be dynamic. It changes through time to suit people's needs.
Good deal. I think we even have Mr. D convinced now.
He's going to be a participant next year. I can
good.
tell. I think he's going to be an evaluator.
I'm into edible landscaping. I like to be able to eat things I try to take care of.
See, there you go.
Yeah, we always want the payoff.
I think we got one now. Appreciate it, Dr. Natalie. That's good stuff.
Thanks.
Good stuff. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please click the subscribe button below.